Well, Sixers Nation, it's been way too long, but it feels so good to say these words. We have breaking news. That is right. Daryl Morey makes a huge splash. We'll break down all the details, what it means for this team, and a whole bunch more. Let's go.
Perfect.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into Philly Take with RB. You know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe to the show. Be sure to ring that bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos or live streams. Man, oh man, we're one day closer to training camp. Couple weeks to go, and it was a gloomy Tuesday. It feels like Monday after the holiday weekend, right? A tough, slow day to get through. You needed that jolt. You needed some kind of caffeine of some sorts. And boom, middle of the day, we get a Woj bomb, breaking news. And now we have another guy added to the squad. A big splash for Daryl Morey, in my opinion. Let's talk about it, man. So just as of a little while ago, Adrian Wojnarowski tweets out ESPN sources. Free agent Montrezl Harrell is signing a 2-year deal with the Philadelphia 76ers, including a second-year player option. Harrell brings more toughness to a team searching for it this offseason. He was 6th Man of the Year with Doc Rivers and Sam Cassell in 2019 and 20 with the LA Clippers. More from Woj. He says Harrell had charges of marijuana trafficking reduced to a misdemeanor possession in a Madison County courthouse recently. Charge will be expunged from his record after 12 months if Harrell gets in no further legal trouble. And a little bit more, Adrian Wojnarowski says that James Harden played a part as well in bringing Harrell to Philadelphia, both with his contract creating roster flexibility, we know, taking the pay cut, and recruiting him to take on the role of backup center with the Sixers. They have history together with the Rockets. This is absolutely huge, man. So not only Daryl Morey, but one of your main anchors, one of your stars, your focal points, James Harden, once again using that leverage power just like he did with guys like PJ Tucker and Daniel House, reuniting those old ties. That is huge, man. Let me tell you, I'm so happy about this. I am so pumped. If you've been, here on the channel, we just covered this, 3-4 days ago. I said I wouldn't really lose sleep if the Sixers didn't go out and try to get Montrezl Harrell, but I did have a little bit of an urge, a little bit of a feeling that the Sixers would end up in pursuit of him. And shout out to Daryl, man. Hey, if you're watching the show, shout out to you, Mr. Morey, because what a move, man. What a move, right? This has been a huge point of emphasis for us the last couple of weeks. We've been talking about this backup center position. Probably the biggest void we had right now, right? Given the whole Paul Reed, Charles Bassey situation, right? We talked about Hassan Whiteside and Montrezl Harrell and DeMarcus Cousins and Daryl Morey. After seeing what is going on with this legal situation with Montrezl Harrell, does not waste any time whatsoever. He goes out and gets it done. This is why I always say, man, I have trust and faith in Daryl Morey. He knows, he feels the pulse, he understands the needs, and he goes out and addresses them the way that he wants to, man. But wow, let's look at Montrezl Harrell reacting to some of the news. He puts this out on Twitter a little while ago. He says, going back to my number 5. Hey, how about Montrezl Harrell in number 5? And how about the connection of Daryl Morey continuing to bring these vets in on very short, small deals, and mostly guys that have once been a bigger name, and most importantly, guys that have had beef with Joel Embiid, right? Or at least have had that personality, right? Dwight, Andre Drummond, Montrezl Harrell. How about that, man? Oh, man, it's sensational. And I think it's a move that had to be done. I think you had to go out and address that position. Let me talk about that for 1 second. Before we do that, Jason Dumas says the Sixers were essentially trying to decide between Montrezl Harrell and Markieff Morris, and we're willing to see, what happened with Harrell's legal situation. But Markieff Morris, who just signed recently with the Brooklyn Nets, did not want to wait out that process. He wanted to come back to his hometown in Philly. We thought that there might be some truth to that, but he did not feel like waiting, and the Sixers ended up getting the better end of the stick, in my opinion. I think Montrezl Harrell is the better player, and I think we got a good deal, man. And Bobby Marks tweets out, he says, with this signing, the Sixers now have 13 guaranteed contracts and 4 players on a partial non-guaranteed contract, which are Trevelin Queen, Isaiah Joe, Charles Bassey, and Paul Reed. And the contract is for 2.46 mil and then 2.76 mil, which is the player option in the second year. That leaves the Sixers $766,000 below the hard cap, but we will get more relief once the roster is trimmed. So now we have to go ahead and get rid of 2 players as we lead up to training camp. And now this gives you some variety, right? Gives you some options to see what happens there. A lot of people kept on saying to me, well, how are we going to make this happen when we already have to get rid of a player? I'm telling you, man, Daryl Morey will make things happen. He sees the needs, he addresses them, and this is huge. And oh, by the way, man, talking about, Montrezl Harrell in its entirety, I predicted this, a couple days ago for a multitude of reasons, but one of the reasons was I thought, I had an urge that he was going to end up signing for a minimum. That, some people thought that there might be more of a market for Montrezl Harrell because, he's been a decent role player throughout the past couple of years. I remember a couple years ago in free agency, he was one of the high coveted free agents, right? I wanted him on this team. He ended up going to the Lakers and he, had to readjust over the last couple of years, but he's still been solid, at least on the offensive end. But, I just thought given the whole legal situation, there would be some repercussions from that. And there was. The Sixers get him on a minimum deal. That is huge. And a player option in the second year. I love it. Also, a few days ago when we talked about this, I said, given the ties between Doc Rivers, James Harden, right? He started his career in Houston. He won the Sixth Man of the Year with Doc Rivers in LA. And Daryl Morey's the guy that drafted him. I mean, boom, boom, boom. It all lines up. It makes perfect sense for them to go out and get a guy like Montrezl Harrell. And, immediately I saw a ton of overreaction, and it's like deja vu. I literally have deja vu, right? I remember breaking, the video talking about Dwight Howard, right? Talking about that news when it broke. Talking about Andre Drummond when we signed him. And now Montrezl Harrell. It's literally been the same thing every time. Some people overreacting for no reason at all. Every backup center has things that make them a backup center. This is a great signing. This is one of the guys that was out there on the market. It was just held up given his legal situation. But he's a guy that can come in and give you at least 10 points a game. He can rim run, right? He's a dog. He brings that energy. Talk about the guys we've upgraded with this offseason. PJ Tucker, right? And you have guys like George Niang, now Montrezl Harrell. We are going to be the grittiest team in the league. People are not going to want to play us. It's going to get scrappy, and I am all here for it. I love it. I think the one thing that we obviously were lacking, which was said out loud, was mental toughness, and now every guy that you've brought in here can help address that issue, and I think it's great, man. Now, I did say the other day that, I was a little bit skeptical given the fact that, he is a Doc Rivers guy, and I said, well, maybe, he's going to get overplayed, right? But here's the thing. You can still develop Charles Bassey. You could still develop Paul Reed and see what they have. Doc Rivers just can't overplay Montrezl Harrell, right? We know his limitations as a defender, sometimes gets stuck, doesn't move his feet well enough. Well, that's obviously something you have to judge, but I just think people are overreacting because this is a win now team, right? Daryl Morey's impatient just like the rest of us. He wants to win, and the moves he has made this offseason completely show that plan. We are trying to win now. And honestly, if you say that we're a win now team, how confident can you be with a second or third year center who doesn't have much experience going into the season? I mean, this is a great move. You needed that experience. You get more toughness with it. And it's a guy who has former ties. I just think it's smart, man. And again, I think people are overreacting just like they did with Dwight Howard and Andre Drummond. But come, second, third week of the season, they see that really you don't have to do much to be a solid backup behind Joel Embiid because of how great he is. People are going to love this, man. People are going to love this. And Harrell, 28 years old. So he's still only 28 years old. It's not like a 34, 35-year-old. No, it's similar. It's actually just like Andre Drummond last year. And Montrezl Harrell played for 2 teams last year. He played with the Wizards. He was traded to the Hornets. He averaged 11.4 points for the Hornets and almost 5 rebounds a game. He's been around. Over the past 5 seasons, Harrell has been one of only 2 players to score at least 5,000 points off the bench. The only other one, well, who is it? Jordan Clarkson, another guy that I wanted on this team, man. How about that? Here was Montrezl Harrell last year after the ejection, right? We all remember that play. We all remember that play, him and Joel Embiid going at it. man, yo, there's just something about bringing these guys back that have had beef with Joel. Let's go, man.
Wondering, do you regret when you get tossed, or is
Nope.
it important of like
Nope.
pride?
Nope. I don't regret not 1 minute, man. Because at the end of the day, the double tap was called like how it was supposed to be called. You feel me? At the end of the day, but we gonna, nitpick about every little rule, taunting and all that, everything. Let it go both ways. You feel me? He got an and one. He wanted to yell in my face and stuff like that. I pushed him on my face. That was in there. You feel me? He the one wanting to step back and point. Oh, I got pushed. Like, stand on your toughness, bro. If you're so tough and you're so,
Shout out to Montrezl Harrell, man. Yo, this guy was made for Philly. Let's be honest. He was made for Philly. Shout out to Pick Swap Pod for putting that up. Yo, man. Joel Embiid lives rent-free inside these guys' heads. Maybe they're like, yo, let's go learn from one of the best. And again, now he has an opportunity to go out here and get his career back on track and try to prolong himself and win. This is huge, man. This is huge. Montrezl Harrell, here were the stats from his Sixth Man of the year with the Clippers, 18.6 points per game. He has gone down over the years, as you see, but this is a perfect opportunity to get your career back on track, just like Andre Drummond did last year. Montrezl Harrell will also help with the rebounding. I mean, he's just going to crash the boards. As you can see, he can give you 4, 5, 6 rebounds off the bench. I just think this is the best signing that was there, and I think Daryl Morey, saw what he said a couple months ago about, wanting to rock with Charles Bassey and Paul Reed. But then when Summer League came, he said, oh, okay, well, I'm not as certain now, given the fact that Bassey was a little bit up and down. He was shaky, right? And he said, I got to go get some veteran experience, a guy that can help share minutes. And I'm sure Doc was all in on it as well, given the fact that he is one of his guys. Again, we can't overplay Harrell if he's not playing well. We still have to let our young guys develop, but I think this is a win now move, and I think you got one of the better players, luckily, just based on the timing of it. So I'm really happy with this, man. Shout out to Daryl Morey for getting it done, and now the Sixers fill their biggest void, and we're looking even better as we prepare to head into training camp in a couple weeks. But you give me your thoughts down below in the comment section. How do you feel about this signing? Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and like always, I will catch you on the next one, man. Peace.
Perfect.